The stranger in the fog. Emily's car sputtered to a halt, the engine giving one final defiant cough before falling silent. She gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white as the fog closed in around her. It had been a clear night when she left the office, but now the rural back road was swallowed by a thick, swirling mist that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Her headlights barely pierced the white veil, and the silence was deafening, broken only by the faint hum of the cooling engine. "Great," she muttered, reaching for her phone. No signal. Of course. She was on a shortcut she'd taken to avoid highway traffic, but now it felt like a mistake. She stepped out of the car, the cold air biting at her skin, and peered into the fog. It was so dense she could barely see her hand in front of her face. A shiver ran down her spine, not just from the cold, but from the eerie stillness. She was alone. Or so she thought. A faint sound cut through the silence. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, crunching on the gravel. Emily froze, her heart pounding. "Hello?" she called out, her voice trembling. No answer. The footsteps stopped. She strained to listen, but the fog seemed to muffle everything, turning the world into a dreamlike haze. Then, a figure emerged from the mist. A man, tall and broad-shouldered, wearing an overcoat that looked like it belonged in a bygone era. His face was obscured by the brim of a hat, and his hands were tucked into his pockets. He stopped a few feet away, his head tilted slightly as if studying her. "Need some help?" His voice was deep, gravelly, with a hint of an accent she couldn't place. Emily hesitated. "My car broke down. I don't have a signal. Do you have a phone?" He shook his head. "No phone, but I can take a look at your car." She nodded, stepping aside as he approached. He moved with a quiet confidence, his movements deliberate. As he leaned over the engine, Emily noticed his hands, rough, calloused, with dirt caked under the nails. They didn't look like the hands of someone who just happened to be walking along a deserted road. "Who are you?" she asked, trying to sound casual. "Name's Jack," he replied without looking up. "You?" "Emily. What are you doing out here? I didn't see any other cars." He chuckled. A low, rumbling sound. "The fog brings me where I'm needed." His answer sent a chill through her. She glanced at her phone again. The time was wrong. It read 2:15 a.m., but she'd left work at 10 p.m. She blinked, rubbing her eyes. When she looked again, the time had changed back to 10:30 p.m. Her stomach twisted. Something wasn't right. "Time's funny in the fog," Jack said, as if reading her thoughts. He straightened up, wiping his hands on a rag that seemed to appear from nowhere. "There, should start now." Emily hesitated, then got into the car and turned the key. The engine roared to life. Relief washed over her, but it was short-lived. As she looked up, Jack was gone. She scanned the road, but the fog had swallowed him whole. "Thank you," she called out, but there was no response. She put the car in drive, eager to leave this place behind. But as she pressed the gas, the fog thickened, and the road seemed to stretch endlessly before her. She drove for what felt like hours, the same stretch of road repeating itself, the fog never lifting. Panic set in. She slammed on the brakes and got out again, the fog now so thick it felt like it was pressing against her skin. "Jack!" she called, her voice barely audible. "Jack, are you there?" A low moan echoed through the fog, followed by the sound of footsteps, multiple, approaching fast. Emily's heart raced. Shapes began to emerge from the mist, vague, shadowy figures with hollow eyes and tattered clothes, their hands reaching out. She screamed, stumbling back toward the car. A hand grabbed her arm, and she whirled around to find Jack, his face pale and almost translucent. "Quiet," he hissed. "They'll hear you." "Who are they?" Emily whispered, her voice shaking. "The lost ones," Jack said, pulling her toward a cluster of trees. "They wander the fog, looking for a way out." They hid behind a large oak, the moans of the lost ones growing louder as they passed by. Emily's breath came in short gasps, her mind racing. "What do they want?" "They're trapped, like me," Jack said, his voice low. "But I'm different. I can still cross over, if you help me." "Help you? How?" "Say my name. Tell my story. I'm Jack Miller. Died in 45, saving my unit. But no one remembers. I'm stuck here in the fog until someone does. Emily stared at him, understanding dawning. You're a ghost? He nodded. And you're my way out. Say my name, Emily. Let me go. Her mind reeled. Was this real, or was the fog playing tricks on her? But as she looked into his hollow eyes, she felt a pull, a need to help him. Jack Miller, she said, her voice steady. You were a hero. You saved your unit. You're remembered now. As the words left her lips, the fog began to thin. Jack's form flickered like a fading photograph. Thank you, Emily, he whispered, his voice barely audible. Now go, before it's too late. The moans of the lost ones grew louder, their shapes closing in. Emily ran to her car, the engine still running. She slammed the door and floored the gas, the fog parting as if by magic. The road stretched clear before her, and she drove without looking back. When she glanced in the rearview mirror, she caught a glimpse of Jack, standing alone, his figure dissolving into the mist. He raised a hand in farewell, and then he was gone. Emily drove on, the fog now a distant memory. But Jack's story lingered, etched into her mind forever.